NUBIA Z11 Review. Living in the shadow of a bigger brother is never easy. However, with the right effort you can turn the odds in your favor and also have a lot of fun in the process. NUBIA is definitely a prime example of a proper departure from its ZTE roots. In a little over a year, the Chinese brand has not only managed to make a name for itself, but they've also come up with a surprisingly distinct signature look and feel. It's actually the fun part that seems to allow NUBIA to stand out. With ZTE fighting battles on the mid-range front where it's busy stirring things up with offers such as the Axon 7 and 7 Mini, NUBIA is more prone to experimenting and pushing new things. Of course, this kind of thinking assumes some ZTE dependence is still in place, but regardless of NUBIA's current corporate state, we will definitely argue that theirs is the more fun position to be in. NUBIA has never been one to skip on a fancy entrance. Just like the Z9 before it, the Z11 arrives in style. Surprisingly enough, even though the handset itself has definitely shed most of the company's traditional bold black and red styling, the box hasn't. The phone comes in a spacious and lavish two-piece cardboard box, in the signature black and red colors. It is not as premium as the Z9S with its hardcover, but clearly not your average phone package either. The contents are set on two levels. The phone itself is on top and underneath are the accessories. Just like the NUBIA Z9, the Z11 comes with a premium pair of headphones. These half-volume controls and they come in a practical rubber circle that neatly holds the headset itself. The headset has flashy red cables and definitely looks more premium than the regular in-box headsets we're used to. A curved front panel is an attention grabber in 2016. Unlike Samsung or Vivo, NUBIA hasn't gone the extra mile to actually curve the panel. Instead, the Chinese OEM has a simpler and far less expensive approach. Just like the Z9 before it, the Z11 uses some clever optics to sort of stretch out the edges of the picture onto the curved part of the glass. It is a cool solution but certainly has its drawbacks, like image distortion along the edges. There are two more capacitive controls beneath the display as well. On top of the panel, we have the usual affair: a front-facing camera, speakerphone and proximity sensor. Hardware keys are only present on the right side of the phone. Starting from top to bottom there's the volume rocker and then the power key. The dedicated camera shutter button from the Z9 is sadly no longer present. At the bottom are two grills, either side of the micro-SD port. Only the right grill hides a speaker, while the left one covers the mouthpiece. Still, if you don't focus too much on the image quality in that particular border area, the overall style benefits still outweigh the inherent deficiencies. In other words, we quite like what we see. Another great benefit from using Qualcomm's high-end social is access to Quick Charge 3.0. NUBIA claims this allows the Z11 to charge 4 times faster than on a conventional charger, but that, of course, is a vague statistic at best. Like many other manufacturers, primarily aimed at the Chinese market, NUBIA was no stranger to flashy, bloated and over-the-top custom version of Android. We definitely can't blame the OEM for going that route with the Z9 last year, but we definitely applaud its newfound philosophy with NUBIA UI 4.0. The strive towards a more mature and refined persona has luckily stretched beyond the Z11's exterior. There are still notable hints and traces of NUBIA's signature bold aesthetic here and there, but overall, the OS is now among the cleanest and most subtle we have seen out of China. While NUBIA's approach to a curved front panel might not be the most cutting-edge or technologically advanced one, the OEM has managed to make great use of its bezel-less design with a plethora of custom gestures. Swipe up or down on one side of the screen that can switch back and forth between apps or launch a couple of apps, one for up, one for down. Adly, the left and right edges can no longer be individually set to either mode, which was a thing on the Z9. Beyond the edge-specific things, the NUBIA Z11 has a few other interesting accessibility features as well. For instance, you can quickly turn on the flashlight by holding the home button on the lock screen. Then there is scheduled power on and off and a scheduled volume and alert mute. In the latest version 4.0, NUBIA UI seems to have lost some of its former feature set across some of the basic bundle apps as well. The Contacts app, for instance, no longer has the Yellow Pages feature from the Z9. However, the latter was undeniably geared towards the Chinese market, so its absence might be tied to us having an international room. Just like the NUBIA Z9, the new Z11 relies on Google's AOSP keyboard by default. However, if that is a bit too plain for you, TouchTool is also pre-installed and has extensive support for various languages and input styles. There are also gestures and shortcuts. Predictive text has also come a long way and now does a fairly good job trying to automatically switch between languages. The player will also automatically look for lyrics to display while playing the track, though it failed to find the words to some very popular tracks. This is likely a regional issue, rather than a small lyrics library. The video player is fairly simple in terms of UI but very capable. Videos up to 4K resolution are supported with the AVCH.264 codec. HEVCH.256 also works. AC3 is also supported to some extent, but 640 kbps seem to be about as much as it can handle. On the right there is a shutter button, plus an effects and quick preview shortcuts. We are also happy to report that HDR works better this time around. This is an area in which the Z9 struggled quite a bit and the improvements are tangible. No longer do you have to sacrifice flat gray skies for some extra shadows and highlights. Well, not to the same extent, that is. There is still room for improvement. The NUBIA Z11 is capable of shooting videos up to 2160p resolution with 1080p and HFR options too. At 2160p the framerate is set at a smooth 30 fps. Final words. Just like its predecessor, the NUBIA Z11 left us with some mixed feelings. The brand has grown a lot and it shows, but for every few things the handset gets right, there still seem to be the one or two oddities that creep in and smear an otherwise great picture. We can't really judge the NUBIA Z11 too harshly. It has a lot going for it, and whatever is still amiss, we can safely attribute to growing pains. That being said, While not particularly bad in any respect, the Curvey flagship is far from universally appealing. Thanks for watching this video. Goodbye.